Hello and welcome to Breaking Bread with Rivaj Maharaj, where nothing is off the table. For today's episode, I want to talk about the breaking news coming out of India and China, where India and China have held a fresh round of border talks. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, there's news coming out. I've got an article here from Sputnik, or a little post on X. I'm going to read it to you. India and China hold fresh round of border talks. The 36th round of border consultations, WMCC, took place in New Delhi, where both sides reviewed the LAC situation, agreeing border peace is key to better ties. India pushed for more info on China's river projects upstream of its border. The reason I have flagged this post is because I've continuously said this. India and China are two ancient civilizations that are in very close proximity to each other. Both of these powers are on the rise. India was late to join the party because I believe that destabilization efforts from the day of independence, from pre-independence, were put in place to deliberately hold India back. I believe that tools of the British, namely Mahatma Gandhi, the likes of Jawaharlal Nehru and all their mates and friends and family, were there to steer India away from achieving some semblance of its greatness that it was destined to achieve, and move towards a more servile, subservient policy. The education system was hindered with, tampered with, and filled with indoctrination, to the level you see that during the current protests that went on in India regarding the exam results, 2 minutes of that was about the exam results and the minister, and the rest of it was all foreign funded and funded by enemies from within India. Needless to say, these two giants are on the rise. The Chinese, however, are not being ruled by a system of government that I would like to say most of the Chinese people are happy with. However, they're forced into this position. In order for this Chinese regime to maintain control, it needs to provide food, it needs to provide stability, employment, and a good economy so that their people are kept happy. The moment there's a tilt in any of these, you find a restlessness, you find rebellion, and that poses a threat to the Chinese regime. I've often said in my videos that the day the Indians and the Chinese come together, the day the Chinese find that they have no use for Pakistan and they understand that they can do business with India and both coexist to each other's mutual benefit in this world, I think that will be the day the sun rises in the east, because what will come of that union will be something enormous, something that is really, really unparalleled in current history. But I don't think it's a possibility with the current Chinese regime, because they're a very authoritarian, dictatorial regime, and they can only see themselves surviving, and they want the number one spot for themselves. They're not prepared to share anything. But should that regime capitulate, should a democratic regime come in China, I think the tables will turn. India and China sitting down and having this conversation is so that tensions do not flare up to where they become an active hot war. And that is why you continuously have from time to time these talks going on either in Beijing or in India. And it's, some might say sometimes it's just a little bit of back and forth. There is a border dispute between India and China, and coming back to this point again, once these border disputes are done, once they are sorted, you then have a common ground on which to work. However, again, the Communist Party of China will not allow a border dispute to be resolved simply because they will not entertain a peer competitor in their region. They want to be the number one hegemon. They do not want India side by side walking in lockstep with them. They want to do it on their own, and they want everybody in their region to be subservient to them. But as with many dictatorships, they don't last forever. So I think the writing is on the wall for the Chinese regime. It's just a matter of time as to when this regime is going to capitulate. They've had these talks, as mentioned. It's been held in New Delhi. And again, it seems very mundane. You can take from it whatever you will. There may be some promising statements made. However, let's not forget the Chinese are actively supporting the Pakistanis along the Sir Creek marshlands, and they are supplying the Pakistanis with military equipment. China from time to time will have these talks with India, and when it has these talks with India, one of two things happens. It's to show that, we want dialogue, but immediately after that, you then tend to find that things either escalate between India and China, conflict wise, or Pakistan then attempts a misadventure with India. And with the current build up in Sir Creek, it's not inconceivable that this is what is going to happen. I think after Operation Sindoor, the Pakistanis, had to sit back and understand what they really went through, the humiliation. I think that their egos are not going to allow them to sit back and accept it. They're going to try another misadventure because they're trying to look at where they went wrong and how can they plug those holes. Oh. ले लिए ओह शिट
भाईजान नूर खान बेस में आके गिरा है। ये अटैक हुआ है नूर खान बेस पे, बिल्कुल घर के सामने। अभी एक जहाज गुजरा है और ये नूर खान बेस के ऊपर अटैक हुआ है।
I think they're going to get another battering because the Pakistani army has only ever gone on to defeat after defeat after defeat. They have no military successes to name off. Oh, probably Black September when they killed 37,000 Palestinians, but nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about how the Pakistanis massacred Palestinians because it doesn't fit well with the narrative. But it's true. I urge you, go out there, research it, Black September. See what General Zia did to the Palestinians on behalf of the Jordanian administration.
Greater Palestine or British Palestine had already been divided, with one part being called Jordan, which even today has 90% of its population is Palestinian. But after the 67 war, the Egyptians sought peace with Israel, as did the Jordanians. And the war on those two fronts finished. There has never been a clash between these two. And just to put a context to your listeners, the biggest massacre of Palestinians has never been done by Israel, but it has been done by a gentleman called Brigadier Ziaul Haq, who then happened to be later Pakistan's ruler, who hanged Prime Minister Bhutto, and then became the introduced the whole notion of the Islamic State within the whole world. So the main killing ever that has happened by the Jordanian army, led by a Pakistani general and a Pakistan Air Force, killing 20,000 Palestinian what called freedom fighters. So when people become sanctimonious about, oh, our solidarity is with the Palestinians, the Pakistanis should be the last people who should talk about it. India has always had historically good relations with the Arab world and has stood by the Arab world, but they've never really cut off their relationships with Israel.
So again, I want to thank you for spending time with us. I thought this is a poignant issue to bring up. I think that a misadventure by Pakistan is on the horizon, and I think the Chinese will be complicit. The Turks are also there in the background, and anybody else that, from the Muslim Ummah that will support Pakistan will be there. Whether they do it in, with weaponry or whether they do it with sentiment, it is immaterial. They've always done it. They will always continue to do it. This is just the nature of the people that you are dealing with. So I want to thank you for spending time with us. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe, as it helps us with the algorithm and it helps our channel to grow.